All right, gang, welcome back to our investment challenge here in Riverview. I have just now purchased something from the used market, so I was in there talking to the salesman, and it's a pretty good purchase for us. I think it's going to be extremely useful. Today, our grass field is ready to mow, and as you can see, we now have a windrower, and quite a large windrower at that. Now, it was in the used market, as I just mentioned, so it's not the perfect brand new windrower, but that's okay. It'll still do the job for us of what we need. And pretty happy about it, man. It's going to be extremely useful given the size of this. It's going to be able to put them in nice big windrows, and when we utilize the loading wagon, or the forage wagon, to pick it up, it will not have to make as many trips around the actual field itself. Now, it wasn't cheap, and I just ran into the mail guy there, or whatever he is. Apologies. It wasn't cheap by any means. It cost us $36,000 and some change. But it's going to be our workhorse, right? We're not going to be getting rid of this at all. I don't see any reason why we would need anything bigger than this on the series. So this is going to be the workhorse for windrowing for us for the foreseeable future. So I'm picking it up now. We're taking it back to the yard, and we're going to give it a little bit of service. We don't have a ton of money, but we do have enough money to service that. We also probably need to service our tractor as well a little bit, so we'll do both of those today. Once we're accomplished with that, or once we have accomplished that, I should say, we will then head back to our grass field, and we're going to get started mowing it today. So we're going to mow it up, we're going to windrow it up, and we're going to put it in the forage wagon, and we're going to put that directly into our silage silo. Now, we only have one silage silo. I talked about maybe potentially putting down another one. Right now, as it currently stands, we don't have enough money to put down another one. But maybe by the end of the episode we will. Who knows? We might end up putting down another production as well. There is a new production that came out. I do not think it's going to be useful for the wool, but for the goat milk, it absolutely will be useful. And at current, we have nothing for the goat milk. We have something for the wool. It's just a very, very, very slow process. Something I would like to, in the very near future, get rid of and upgrade to something else that's a little bit faster for us. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're all doing well. Things are good here, man, as much as you can be. Things are good. We did have a little hail overnight, so we do have a little bit of hail damage in our grass field. So that means we're going to get a little bit of a smaller yield, I guess I should say, than what we typically would think of. But it was only one little spot. Some other people had a lot more, like this guy, our neighbor over there. He had a ton. Feel bad for him. We also need to fill up the tractor here with some gas. I probably should have did that while we were up there, but we should have enough for the episode today. Shouldn't be a problem. So let's service this really quick here. $3 repair, $2,229. It's not terrible. Oop. Yep, okay, we're good. So not too bad. So I'm gonna pick up pick up the mower here, the two mowers here, and I will meet you over the grass field. I'm gonna put the weight on the front of the tractor as well. So I'll meet you over there, and we'll get started. All right, we are here, gang. We're unloading everything, getting everything set, ready to go here. All right, we are underway. Now, yesterday there was no video out on the channel, so I apologize for that. I just simply ran out of time. Kind of a last-minute, spur-of-the-moment thing. A client of mine decided they wanted to come on site into our office. None of us were really prepared for that, so for the last 2 days, I've had them in the office all day long for extended hours till, I don't know, about 6:37, and then we would go eat dinner after that with them, obviously. So I really wasn't home until all of that was done, until closer to 10 every night, and just ran out of time, honestly, for doing any editing, and for that matter, even any recording as well. So I apologize, gang. I just want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on and why there was no video yesterday. So I didn't really specify that when I made the post. But that's okay. sometimes, you know, that happens, man. It's just life. That happens, right? Not much you can do about it. We're cruising along here at a good clip, gang. I am, as you can see, as you could clearly see, I am trying to mow up some of the outer layer grass, this grass that's not really technically the field, right? Just try to get a little bit of extra. On all the grass we can get, man, I want as much money as possible here going from that silo. Realistically, we need to start thinking about, in the near future, in the next episode or two, purchasing a second field. I think it's about time for us to get a second field. Now, it's probably going to be one of those grass fields, I would think at this point, until we're able to start making enough money off the silage silo here to be able to afford buying another field. We're going to have to do a lot of leasing whenever we do buy another field if it's not a grass field. Until we're able to purchase a harvester and a drill, etc., right? That's okay. Really, our focus right now is grass anyway, because we have the goats and the sheep, and once they continue to reproduce and get more and more, we are going to need more and more grass fields here. Hopefully, at that point, we'll be able to afford a bigger mower setup as well. Obviously, that is a dire thing we need here. Once we are having 2,000 head of sheep and goats in that pen there, that's going to be insane. Now, I did start looking at some of the other pieces of land that we have to purchase for this challenge. Now, if you just happen to stumble across this and you're not aware of that, everything's in the link, and everything's down below in the description. Long story short, there are 4, I guess I would call them farm yards, farm areas. Not actual crop fields, but just land that has some buildings and stuff on it. Anyway, there are 4 of them that you have to purchase and own. And on each of those, you have to have, well, you have to have at least 100 head of livestock on every single one of those pieces of farm land that you purchase, right? One of them is going to have 2, because you have to utilize every animal with the exception of horses and bees and dog, obviously. Any of the ones that require maintenance, the only one that you're not required to put down are horses. So you got to do cows, sheep, chickens, you know, everything. So, the one we're doing now, the beginning one here, since we have a pen that can hold 2,000 sheep and or goats, the rest of the ones we purchase are going to be more along the lines of probably 100 to 200 head of sheep versus 2,000. I think this one's going to give us enough to do. We don't need multiple 2,000 head pens. I think that would be a little insane. But everything's down below in the description if you're interested in it or you want to take a look at it. It's created by friend Rusty Money Gaming, who has made a lot of challenges over the years, and I've taken part in a good chunk of them. I think Trust You had a little bit of insight or a little bit of input into this one. I know they normally make some pretty interesting challenges together. They're good guys, man. Check them out if you haven't done so. So I did 3 headland passes here, gang. Now we're going to do a little bit more of the traditional up and downs. Now, this field itself, whenever I do auto drive assist, whatever you call it, it doesn't really do exactly how I think it would do it. It doesn't, you know, go, like how I'm doing now. This is how I would imagine it was going to go, but it doesn't. It goes at a very weird angle. So I'm probably not going to be utilizing the steering assist at all for doing the mowing here. Now we've got more hail in the forecast, so it's kind of good that we're trying to get this mowed up here pretty early. I did not expect the grass field to be ready to mow today, if I'm honest with you. I think we talked in the last episode that we'd probably be doing some contracts today and maybe get enough money to be able to purchase, you know, another field. And we were close to that. We probably could have got to that if I didn't buy that windrower, but I really wanted that windrower. It's a nice windrower. It was a good price. And while we are allowed to lease in this series, which normally I do not allow leasing at all unless I'm just doing a contract. And what I mean by I don't allow leasing is I don't allow myself to lease something for my own farm. Right? If it's a contract, like I was mentioning, that's fine, right? You're utilizing it for a contract, it goes away after that. You cannot use contracted equipment on your own field anyway. But I'm never allowed, at least on almost every, actually it's not even almost, every series that I've done to this point, I've never allowed myself to actually lease something. It's always been, I have to buy it out myself if I want to utilize it on my own piece of land. But in this one, it is allowed. Leasing is allowed. So we did a lot of leasing early on. Lately, we haven't been leasing all that much. We are going to be leasing today. The little, I don't know what you call it, a pickup thing that shoots the grass from the ground into the trailer. We will be leasing that because obviously we don't have enough money to afford that. It's $60-something thousand right now. So, yeah, we're going to be leasing that. So we will be leasing something today, but we are one step closer to we're not having to lease anything when it comes time to mow this field, right? Which is a good thing, I think. Now, having said that, leasing really isn't all that expensive. But I mean, over time, right? Over time, it definitely would be. Over time, it's just money you're wasting, right? You're just throwing that money back to the bank or whoever. Hopefully that all makes sense. I'm sure it does. I don't know. So I would say we're probably 1/3 of the way through mowing here. I don't know. Something like that. We got a long ways to go still. But we're cruising along at a good clip here. So let's get to work here. Let's see how much of this we can actually get done here. And then we'll go back and pull out the new gently used windrower. We'll see how that sucker works. Alright, we are underway, gang. This thing is massive. This is going to be a massive help for us. And it's going to put these swaths in quite large ones, which is a really good thing for us, honestly. I ended up buying the chunky tires for it. I spent the extra money on that, as you can clearly see. You know I'm a big fan, if you've been around the channel for a long time, of chunky tires. I don't know why, but I just love the chunky tires. I prefer the chunky tires over the dualies, over anything else. Can't really explain it. It's just my my personal preference, I guess. Flotations are nice too, but just chunky tires in general are I'm a big fan of. Cruising along pretty nicely here. 9 mile per hour is pretty good for windrowing here. And we're getting quite a wide width here. I don't even remember what the actual width of this thing is. I should probably look that up here. 14 meter width. Whoop, ran into something. 14 meter width. So that's pretty wide, gang. I think our mowing setup only does like 5. So this is not going to take us any time at all to do. I mean, it's probably... I mean, it's not even probably. It's doing like the 3 headland pass we did in one go. So this will be pretty quick. All right, we're beginning our more traditional up and downs here. I decided to do 2 headland passes with this, which might have been a little bit too much, honestly, but that's all right. We're nonetheless, we're getting going here. These are, as I've mentioned a couple of times now, these are massive swaths, man. They are. Look at them. Look how big those things are. That's insane. So yeah, the only problem really we're running into right now is that the actual forage wagon that we have is just not quite big enough. For the size of this field, we have to make a lot of trips, right? And there's nothing wrong with making a lot of trips, but ideally, we wouldn't really want to be making as many trips as we are. Back and forth to here, right? Because it's just taking up time. It's putting wear and tear on the vehicles, gas, etc. Speaking of gas, which I don't think I mentioned already, but I'll mention it quickly here. When we were back at the yard, when I went and dropped off the mowers and picked up the windrower here, I did go to our little buying silo and went ahead and filled up the diesel here in the tractor. So we took care of that. It was only 140 or 50, 60 bucks, something like that. It wasn't terrible, so. We're making really good progress. We've got, I would say, 3/4 of the field here by the time we're finished with this pass done. You can clearly see where the hail damage was. It's right there in the middle. Obviously, it's not an area we could mow because it restarts or resets the growing process for it. But that's all right. Once we, it's not like it withers or anything like that. Once we're ready to mow this field again, it'll be caught up with that and we'll be good again, as long as we don't get more hail damage, of course. Which, as you can see, hail's in the forecast, so you never know. Don't think we'll get any hail damage with it being mowed this low, but I guess that little portion that already had hail damage could potentially get more hail damage, I guess. I don't think the game would do that, but, you know, I've been wrong before. Decided not to throw a time-lapse in of doing this, even though this is a new piece of equipment, and typically that's what we would do. Mostly because we just did a time-lapse, right? I didn't want to jump straight into a second time-lapse back-to-back on you. Try to spread them out. Most of the time, I've mentioned before, I only like doing 1 on an episode. Sometimes, it's, you know, there's nothing for it. You have to do 2. Even 3. But for most episodes, I do the best I can to only, you know, give you 1. It's just, if I have nothing to talk about and we've got a lot to accomplish in a big field, you know, eventually, even me, who likes to rant, is going to run out of shit to talk about. So. Yeah, probably 2 more passes here, and we're done. All right, we are all done. So we're gonna take this back to the shop. I was gonna say the shop. We're gonna take this back to the yard. Then we will head to the shop. If I can get my words correctly today. And we're going to lease the little, I don't even know what we call it. It's in the belt system, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but we're going to lease, let me find it. This thing right here, the forage pickup. That's what we're going to get, $65,000. Leasing it costs us $3,315, which is a lot of money, but we're making more than that off of it, so not a big deal. But that's going to be really the next thing we need to purchase, that and a secondary field. So if we can get that bought, it's going to save us a lot of money in the long run, because it's $3,000 a pop. It's going to catch up to us pretty quick, and we're going to be paying more than it actually costs for the thing if we don't purchase it here soon. All right, gang, we are underway here. Working well, as it always does. Really, really like the way that this works. It's a bit of a change of pace from what your traditional baling and just standard forage wagon loading, right? This is more of a different approach to it, and I like the way it works. I really do. Allows you to have much bigger trailer, right? Maybe that's something we should also consider doing here in the near future. Since we fill this thing up so fast, maybe we should consider trying to see if we can find a bigger trailer. The reason why we purchased this one is because we got it, used, right? So it was a little bit inexpensive in comparison to what it would cost normally. These things are not cheap normally, so. But that's an option, right? Because we're pretty much full here, and we haven't even gone around the headland one time yet. And there it is, full. So we'll drop off the front here. We'll sit it right about there. Looks good to me. Back this up a little more, and we'll head on over to our silage silo. And we'll get that thing going. Now, as far as purchasing one of these, I don't remember exactly how much they are. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, I'm gonna stop real quick because I'm gonna run into something if I don't stop. I feel like they're under. I mean, I don't think they're under forage wagons. They're not. It's just got to be under regular trailers then, I guess. Like a semi-trailer probably is really what we need more than anything, honestly, right? But the semi-trailers, we would have to buy an extension to it if we're going to utilize it with the tractor, right? So I guess there's this option too, which is a little unrealistic, right? We can go to XL capacity. We could purchase this one. This has a lot more space, 200, versus what we have right now is like 50, 47, right? So I guess that's an option we could go with. A super unrealistic option, but that's an option nonetheless that we could consider. Because it does take us a long time to get the grass up off that field, right? I mean, this is probably 6 different trips back and forth, I would think. Let me think about it a little bit more as we take this one over here. We might consider doing that. Just upgrading to that one, and really the only reason why we're doing that is just to save ourselves the trips back and forth, the wear and tear back and forth. Let me think about it. Alright, so I decided to do it, gang. I decided to upgrade for it. I think it's just going to be better overall. It's not really harming anything specifically. It's just saving the time, the wear and tear and all that stuff. So I decided to do it. We sold the other trailer and picked up this one. It actually made us a little bit of money by going this approach as well. This trailer is a little bit cheaper. I think just in the long run, this is the smartest play for us. Just it's going to store a lot more. It's going to hold a lot more. We don't have to make as many trips all over the place, right? Even when we go sell it, right? We don't have to make so many trips back and forth. Realistically, we should probably be able to get most of this field in one load here, right? We're probably going to have to do 2, I would think, but that's much better than 6, 7 like we were doing. Now I went with the John Deere green. I did not go with the yellow rims. I probably should have. I would have matched everything that way, but I don't know. I liked the black on it. So I already went ahead and unloaded from the previous trailer before we upgraded to this one. I went ahead and unloaded the grass from that trailer into the silage silo, so it should be chewing through it right now. It is. There's not a whole lot it's got through yet. It is a relatively fast silo, but it's not as fast as it could be. It's not immediate by any means. I'm going to hit this really quick. Little bits I've missed here and there. Alright, this shouldn't take too long, gang. Let's get this done. Alright, we're all done. I actually think maybe the entire field might be able to fit into that, or if it's not, it's going to be a very small window that will not fit in there. But nonetheless, we can go ahead and return this forage pickup. We're going to be purchasing that very, very soon now. Alright, we'll go ahead and put the cover back on. Let's head back to the farm here. Now, not all of this obviously is going to be able to fit into the silo. We saw that already once before, but that's okay. We can, now that we have the cover on this, we can keep it in the trailer. It's not going to harm it to keep it in the trailer. So that's what we're going to do. And then, whenever our sheep and goats need more grass, if they need more grass, we can just dump some in there for them. Right now, they have plenty of grass. They've got 100,000 liters of grass still, plus the meadow grass. So, for now, they're perfectly fine. So this is, I'm just going to kind of keep in here, store it in here, and we will unload it into the silo as we carry along, which means we'll make a little bit more money, right? Alright, we're pulling up here, just turn the beacons off. We can go ahead and unload here. As much of the grass as it'll accept. Evidently she's going to shoot it out the back there. Alright, so we're going to jump that off here. Actually, you know what? Let me put the cover back on. That way it'll just continue to dump. It'll keep dumping the entire time until it runs out. So while that's happening for now, we're going to go over here and we're going to grab the fertilizer spreader, and we're going to put the fertilizer down on our grass field because it will need an application of fertilizer. So we'll go ahead and knock that out right now. Now, we're probably not going to be selling any of the silage today, more than likely. Because we really only have that one trailer, right? So we're probably not going to, unfortunately, be able to sell any silage today. But that's okay. We can do that in the next episode, which will make us some money. We've mentioned it before, but in case you just stumbled across this and are new, it's okay to sell silage pretty much any time. It really doesn't fluctuate that much. It's like $10, $15 maybe in price fluctuation. So I'm not really concerned about $10 or $15. I'm really only concerned when it's hundreds of dollars or even thousands of dollars, depending on what it is. 952 liters of solid fertilizer should be plenty. Going through a little bit of a tree tunnel here that I like. I like our little drive up to our field back here. I really do. I really like this. If I had all the money in the world and, could pick where I want to live at and where I'd want my area to be, I would have something like this, right? A nice long track back to where would potentially be your house, a couple of plots of land over here, little fields, if you will. Not sure if I would be taking care of them or if I would just be, you know, leasing out or renting out or whatever you would want to call it, whatever they call it in the actual farm world, for another farmer to take care of, right? I don't know for sure. Oh, I got the turn signal on still. So I don't think that was at the whitest it could be there, and it was not. So we fixed that. It was nearly, though. Now, many of you know, you've been around for a long time, this is one of my favorite things to do, is fertilizing and spraying, for that matter. There's just something very, I don't know, soothing about it. And here comes the hail, gang. Here comes the hail. I was hoping we were going to get this done before the hail got here. We did not do so. But that's all right. It's not going to take us long to get the field done here. So, we're going to leave the episode at this point, gang. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would greatly appreciate it if you smashed the like button for me. Subscribe if you're new. All that good stuff helps me out an absolute ton. Thanks so much to my 12 members. If you want to become a member, links down below in the description. You get access to videos like this one early, along with a members-only series and your name in the end credits. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.